So when we think of Ramadan, what usually comes to mind? Fasting, right? From dawn till dusk. But what if we reframed that? What if we saw it as something more? Like a story, a personal 30-day journey of the heart, all about spiritual renewal and real transformation.
Yeah, and this quote really hits the nail on the head. This journey, it's so much more than just not eating or drinking. It's this incredible chance to just hit the reset button, to reflect, to grow. It's a story that plays out over 30 days, giving you a total fresh start for your soul.
But here's the thing about any epic adventure, right? It never really starts on day one. The real story begins with the preparation, that call to adventure, where you start getting ready for everything that's about to come.
And that prep time, it actually has a name. It all happens in the month of Sha'ban, which is the month right before Ramadan. You can see on this timeline just how crucial it is. People use these weeks to set their intentions, maybe do a few voluntary fasts to kind of ease their body into it, plan out their charity, and just gently adjust their routines. Honestly, it's a lot like training for a marathon. You know, it makes the transition into the main event so much smoother.
So what does that training actually look like? Well, here are some of the really practical steps people take. You've got setting clear spiritual goals like, okay, how much of the Quran do I want to read? Then there's planning simple meals, because who wants to be stuck in the kitchen? You start adjusting your sleep schedule a bit early. And a really smart one, getting Eid gifts sorted out beforehand so you're not distracted during those last super important days.
And of course, this prep is going to look different for everyone. It's deeply personal. For some folks, especially anyone with a health condition like diabetes, there's a really vital extra step, talking to their doctor. It's all about making sure you can take on this journey safely, with the right medical advice and a solid plan in place.
Okay, so once that new moon is sighted, bam, the journey begins for real. It's like you step into a whole new world, one that has a totally different rhythm. Your days are now shaped by fasting, by reflection, by worship. It creates this unique spiritual pulse that just beats for the next 30 days.
And this is where the central challenge of the journey really kicks in, managing your spiritual energy. Seriously, think of yourself like a battery. You've got to balance fasting, which takes physical energy, with work, family, and more worship, all without hitting zero. It is an absolutely delicate art.
So, how do you avoid that burnout? Here's the key, and it's so important. The goal isn't to be some kind of spiritual superhero for 30 days straight. It's about sincerity and consistency. You know, those small, steady actions that you do with a good heart? Those are considered way more valuable than some huge gesture that you just can't keep up. And to help navigate this new rhythm, people have all sorts of tools in their toolkit. A daily schedule becomes your best friend, especially for making the most of those quiet, pre-dawn hours for prayer. People get creative, finding ways to fit in small acts of worship at work, maybe using prayer as a quick mental reset. And yeah, a lot of people use planners to track their goals. Fasting, prayer, Quran reading, it just keeps you focused and intentional.
All right, so as the journey goes on, the intensity really starts to ramp up. It all builds to the climax of the entire story, the final 10 nights. And let me tell you, these nights are considered the most precious, the most powerful moments of the entire year.
And that brings us to a huge question, because at the very heart of these final 10 nights is this search for one single life-changing moment. So, what is the Night of Power?
Okay, so Laylat al-Qadr, which translates to the Night of Power, is the exact night that the very first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. It's described as a night just overflowing with mercy, with forgiveness, with blessings. It's literally the starting point of the Quran's own journey to all of us.
And if you want to understand just how valuable this night is, just look at this number, 1,000 months. The Quran says that any worship you do on this one single night is better than worshiping for 1,000 months. I mean, do the math. That's more than 83 years. It is an absolutely incredible, mind-blowing opportunity. I love this quote from the scholar Ibn al-Jawzi. It just captures the mindset perfectly. He says, "When the racehorse knows that it is nearing the end of the track, it exerts all of its effort. Do not allow the racehorse to be cleverer than you." Wow. It's basically a call for a final, intense, spiritual sprint to the finish line, giving every last bit of effort you have. So after that spiritual peak, after that final sprint, you'd think the journey's over, right? But not quite. The rewards you gained, well, they aren't just for you. A huge part of the experience is sharing those blessings with everyone. And this is where a really special charity comes in, called Zakat al-Fitr. It's a donation that every Muslim who is able has to pay before the big Eid prayer at the end. And it has two amazing. First, it kind of purifies your fast from any mistakes you might have made. And second, it makes sure that even the poorest people in the community have what they need to celebrate Eid with everyone else.
And get this statement really shows you how crucial this act of sharing is. It basically says that your entire month of fasting is left kind of suspended between heaven and earth until you pay this charity. It suggests that the final acceptance of your journey is tied to this one last act of compassion. It's such a beautiful connection between your own personal journey and the well-being of the whole community.
So, the 30 days are done, the celebration is over, but the story is not. In fact, maybe the most important chapter is just beginning. It's the road back to everyday life, and it's all about what you decide to carry with you from this incredible journey.
You know, it's really easy to get caught up in what people call a Ramadan high. It's this amazing spiritual boost, but it can fade pretty fast. The real goal isn't just a 30-day spiritual boot camp. It's about using that boot camp to build a foundation of lasting habits. Those small, consistent, positive changes that you can actually carry with you for the next 11 months.
And that brings us right back to that core idea we talked about earlier. The true success of this whole journey isn't measured by how much you packed into 30 days, it's measured by what you continue to do. Those small, constant habits, that's what really, truly matters in the long run.
So as our story of this journey comes to a close, the final question is really for you. What new habit is going to be your souvenir from this trip? What's that one positive change that you'll treasure from this 30-day journey of the heart?